Welcome to Athlete in the 519. I'm Greg Schooley. We had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're on. This is Danielle Campo-McLeod.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on. I just want to talk a little bit about my good buddy Tim Campbell. For everything in your real estate, call 519-259-9999. And Tim Campbell and Section 21 and his team will help you out. On top of that, Tim Campbell and the Windsor Spitfires have donated 2 Spitfire tickets to those of you who comment and like this show. We'll enter you in. We'll have a winner for you tomorrow. And these are free VIP parking and Crown Royal seats and Crown Royal entry into the Crown Royal room. So make sure you like, comment, tell us how we're doing. If you have a question to ask, then you can ask this lady right here. Thanks for coming very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So, as we usually start off on Athlete in the 519, I usually want to talk about, when you first, just growing up in the area. So what part of Windsor or the 519 did you grow up in?
Yeah, so I grew up in Riverside until I was 4 years old, and then we moved to Tecumseh. And
I
lived in Tecumseh, and that's where I started swimming.
So now you knew you were diagnosed at 2 years old?
Yes.
And that was, how did you know?
So I have 2 older brothers who always played hockey, were really busy, and my mom had wanted that third child, little girl. And so when I was what happened was when I was walking, they noticed I'd fall a lot more, or I'd ask to be picked up a lot more than my brothers. And so we always joke that my dad has flat feet, so my mom blamed it. It must be
Fred Flintstone,
right? It must be the same. And so my mom said, "Well, I'm going to make a doctor's appointment and just check if it's just like your flat feet, if she inherited them." And it was at that doctor's appointment that the doctor said, "No, she doesn't have flat feet. She has muscular dystrophy." So you can imagine kind of the bomb drop, and the world kind of changed for them of what is this diagnosis and what does this mean?
And do you know at that time, or you still don't know until kind of later on?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a few years later. I think I started to understand that it was different when it would be like out on the playgrounds at recess, like 7, 8 years old, where everybody, the bell rings to go outside and everybody would be taking off running to the playground, and I'd be like, I'm trying to get there. Why can't I run as fast? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so you're out of breath or whatever.
Right, and my legs would be weaker, so I was a lot slower on land than my friends. Yeah.
So you moved to Tecumseh. Now, do your parents, so here we got a few pictures here. Now, do your parents know, or did you have a swimming pool?
So the house did have a pool. It had a sports pool. And so what started out as just putting me in the water for physiotherapy. And for those people that know Tecumseh, Lacoste Park always had a pool.
Yeah.
And so they always had a summer swim team. And so I said I wanted to join the summer swim team. Like I said, my brothers played hockey, so I tried to play hockey. I learned how to skate. I scored on my own net in my very first game, and then was like, that's enough of that. And so I joined that summer swim team, and that's kind of where it started from there.
Now, so you start swimming. How do you know that you're good or you don't, because you're just swimming against normal kids?
Yeah, you're last all the time when you're swimming against able-bodied. So I just knew I loved it. I knew that there was never any barriers. As soon as I was in the water, it was like I was the same as the other kids, right? Maybe a little bit slower, but still I could do everything they could do. So,
but you never even quit. Like you just said, "Oh my God, I'm so tired of doing this."
Yeah. No, it was just fun. It was always really fun, and
really?
Yeah.
Now, so when do you go into competition? Like, how do you even get there?
Right. So it was at a swim meet, like a summer, little swim meet, that a coach approached my parents and said, "Hey, have you heard of like disabled swimming?" And my parents were like, No, what do you mean? And so they explained that there was a swim team called the Windsor Bulldogs, and it was for athletes with disabilities, and that some of the athletes were training to go to the Paralympics. And so I, of course, was like, I want to check it out. And so, so we went to our first Windsor Bulldogs swim meet, and I loved it and was like, I want to swim.
Did you do anything? Like, did they say, "Oh, wow, look at her"? Or you're just saying, "Oh, I want to do this."
I think their first comment.
Like, did you come in last there too?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I started to get a taste of what it was like to win. But what happened was they said, this child has so much energy and and it's so coachable. And so that's what made it easy for them, is they were like, it just kind of grew from there.
Okay, but now, you're, what grade are you in?
So I'm probably in like grade 3 or 4 at this point.
Oh,
I'm still really young.
Oh my God.
Yes, because what happened is from after that is when I went to my first kind of swim meet with the Windsor Bulldogs. The national coaches and Team Canada coaches were at those swim meets, focused on their athletes. And when I started to swim is when my parents were approached by other coaches saying, she's really good in the water, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so about 11 years old, I said to my parents, I want to go to the Olympics. And they, of course, were like, right,
yeah, right.
whatever, right? And then once I started to understand about the muscular dystrophy more, it was, okay, I'll go to the Paralympics then. And so that's when I started to train. And then by 13, I made the national team.
Now, so like, if you're doing the same as all the other swimmers, you're getting up at like 4 or 5 in the morning and you're going to swim before you go to school. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but like at your age, like what's giving you the drive to do that? Because obviously you're getting up that early. You go to school. Do you swim after also?
Yeah, so I'd swim 2 hours before school and 2 hours after school.
And they drive you to school, pick you up,
And
drive
back
you
to the pool. Yeah. And so my mom would say like, oh, the roads are going to be bad tomorrow. Maybe you should just sleep in. And I'd be like, no, like I'll buy you a Tim Hortons if you take me to the pool. And I think the drive was just, I loved it. I love, only an athlete can understand when you work your body to its breaking point, right?
Yeah.
And you touch that wall and like you've got nothing left. Like someone's literally going to physically pull you out of the pool. And I loved that feeling of pushing your body past those limits.
Now, did you even recognize that, like, there's a lot of sacrifice. So there's a lot of friends that, you probably couldn't hang out with, or when was your friend time, or was it just kind of when you got home at like 7 o'clock at night after dinner?
Yeah, it was. You became friends with who you swam with, because that was really
that's
only
true.
the time
That's
that you
like
could,
any sport, though,
right?
really.
You really could only socialize. So a couple minutes before you jumped in the pool and in the change rooms after, and that was it, right? And then you're at swim meets, you traveled together. So.
Oh, and then you have your sleep. Those are your sleepovers with your friends.
Those are your sleep.
Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
it wasn't actually until we had our own children that I realized, like, oh my gosh, like I really didn't live a normal teenage.
Normal child.
Like, can we sleep at our friends? I was like, you don't sleep at your friends' house. You're gonna wait. No, I guess you don't have practice. You can.
That is good. So, okay, but how about this? Like, as we look at this picture in the back, you got 3 golds, 2 silver, 1 bronze. You have quite a few world records, right?
Right.
How did you know, like, before that happened, like, how did you know you're good? It's like some people try and try and try, and they're not winning, or they win some, lose some. But how did you know at a certain point, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
Yeah. I was 13 years old, and I qualified for the world team going to New Zealand, and I got to Worlds. I had.
Which were you more proud of, going to New Zealand or actually swimming?
Yeah.
It was still swimming.
Yeah, right. It was it's when I swam at those world championships where I won 4 gold medals at Worlds and broke 4 world records. And it was at that point that I was like, wow, like it sunk in that, I had a competitor from Iceland look at me, and she was like 6'2", and she looked at me.
Yeah, because
like,
you're not
what
a
are you
very
gonna
tall
do,
person.
right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm this 13-year-old, like no clue. Everyone's sitting in the ready room with their heads down, all like in their game, and I'm just waving at my parents in the stands, and like not cluing in that what this actually means, right? And then after, it was when coaches would come up to me and say like, oh my gosh, you're an amazing swimmer, and I had these gold medals now to be like, hey, it feels nice to be winning now. And
so when did it hit you when you had the gold medals, or did you come home and then everybody's like, because I even remember you being in the paper all the time, and so everywhere you went now, people would know who you are.
Right. Yeah. It was definitely, when I left for that competition, I was just, someone that had fun swimming and was that's the sport that she does, right? When I came home, it was a title.
Watch your swear words.
Exactly. Yeah.
Talk nice to people, say hi to everybody.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, I just want to say again, Don't forget about Tim Campbell and the Windsor Spitfires. They got together and they gave us 2 free spit tickets and VIP parking to the Crown Royal room and also Crown Royal seats. If you like, comment, and we'll enter you in. And tomorrow we'll pick a winner, and hopefully it's you. So moving on. So now you've done all this, and you actually went twice to the...
I did, yes. I went 2000 was in Australia, and then 2004 was in Athens, Greece.
Now, when you went to Athens, Greece, was it more intense for you? So did you have another girl running around the room waving at their parents, or were you like looking down, getting ready?
I was totally like, yeah,
intense?
This is much different to be the one that's just kind of like having fun, and as opposed to the one that everyone's chasing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, it was a little bit more serious, but still had fun with it, right?
Yeah.
By the time 2004 had come, I was friends with, your friends in the ready room, and then on the pool deck, it's like serious business. And then after you touch the wall, you're friends again.
Even your most fierce competitors?
Even my most fierce.
Nobody was ever like, oh, I hate her.
Maybe, but not to my face.
Yeah, that's true. That's like, or their parents hated you for beating their kids or whatever. But, oh, that's awesome, though. And so, okay, so anyway, so now you've lived a pretty good life, and obviously you had a couple of children now. So, and I guess I better touch on it because it was pretty well known through the whole city. And I remember because friends of yours posted to me, said, hey, you got to post it. Everybody's got a prayer, and you got to set lights up for everybody, or candles, light a candle for you. And I think I was away. I don't know where I was, but I come home and my whole street was full of candles. Amazing. People had them right out at the road, like not at the house, like all along the road. I thought that was the coolest thing. So, and one of the best things, and I heard you saying in a couple of interviews, is failure is not an option. And does that come with the strength, just the strength in you from growing up and being so competitive? Other than having a child and you want to be with her, but
right.
It actually hit me pretty hard, and I thought, wow, what a nice saying, or what a great moment in your life to know that you're going to win. Or I don't even know if you knew you were going to win. So
I was. I don't think my husband Denny and I will ever be able to repay 519 for the support, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And to know that you have that community behind you. A lot of people, what they don't know is that when I woke up in London and I was on life support, I had no idea how I got there. So I knew I had my daughter, but there was 21 days in the hospital in Windsor before I went home, and I have no memory of those days. So I don't remember.
Oh, not even at all? Not
even at all. So I don't remember holding her. I remembered seeing her, so I knew I had her, but then I had no idea what had happened after. And, being like sarcastic and funny in the sense of humor that I have, I woke up and I saw the life support vent, and I thought, okay, I have no idea how I got here, but this is life support, and I know my husband will never pull the plug, so I may be here for a while, but I don't know, like, I'll eventually put these pieces together of how this happened, and then slowly, people start telling you, they would ask me, like, are you in Toronto? Are you in London? And I kept thinking, like, what is wrong with these nurses? Like, further south, I'm in Windsor. And so once I kind of started to understand, and failure is not an option is a statement that just kept coming into my mind, because you have no concept of time, right? If it's morning, afternoon, or night, all I could see was that little valve in the vent going up and down when I took a breath in or when I took a breath out. And so from being an athlete, I said, if I can hold that vent up a little bit longer, then I know I'm working on my lungs. Yeah. So I'm going to turn this into like a workout, and I'm going to just keep, what can I control? That's the only thing right now.
Like, obviously you had to go to sleep. Was that hard to go to sleep, or you just,
no,
or you would just fall asleep?
It was impossible. Yeah. Your mind was just racing all the time of, as an athlete, you train your body, and I've always lived, a really active life and been really healthy, and always stayed on top of, working out my good muscles. So knowing that I couldn't move, like wondering what has happened, that, and am I paralyzed? Did we get in a car accident? Like, I had no clue of, what was coming and what had happened. And
so you spent 21 days there, or was there a time where you say, okay, I'm getting better, each day was stronger, or was it just 21 days they shipped you back here?
No, so it was 21 days in Windsor. Then I went home for a day. and then back into the emergency room in Windsor, and then they sent me to London. So my heart started failing when I went back into Windsor, and so they had approached Denny and said, you know, we need to get her to London, but I only had a 10% chance of making the trip to London.
Oh, of making it there.
Of making it there in the ambulance.
Wow.
So Denny had to make some pretty difficult decisions, and before I had my last surgery, I had said to him, you know, do everything, you throw every book at it, like, don't give up. And he, you know, I remember him kind of saying to me, like, obviously you're going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
But you have little kids at home. It wasn't an option, right? Yeah. And so
failure
wasn't an option. So he, you know, made some really tough decisions and had the support of my family, and they said we got to try. Like, you know, one of the toughest conversations we've had is listening to him say to me, if we lost you on the way to London, at least I knew we tried everything.
Yeah.
And so getting to London, and, you know, the medical staff in Windsor was absolutely amazing. From the
fantastic.
Nurses to the PSWs to the doctors, everyone was amazing, and supporting that journey to get there, right? Making sure I was set up with the best, so that when I got to London, the London team could do their thing, and then we're lucky.
Now, did you stay in London the whole time, and then how did you come home? They transport you back?
Yeah, so I stayed in London. So all through September, I remember at the beginning of October, middle of October, the doctor came in and said, you're probably going to be in here till November, and then we can talk about transferring you home. And I was thinking, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be forever, right?
Yeah, because now you know your kid's at home,
right?
And you want to be, or could she be with you at all?
So they let her come up once. She was allowed to come and see me one time in London, and that is, I think, one of the things. Again, I praise him, but my poor husband had to rush out of London, rush home, pack up a newborn baby, bring her down the 401, back to the hospital so I could see her. And so I think that's what really fast-tracked that healing, is because I got to hold her. Now, I didn't have the muscle strength to hold her, so they held her while I kind of, you know, mimicked what it was like holding her. And it was like that drive for that Olympic gold was like, I will do anything. And I'd ask every therapist, every nurse, how do I get better? What do I have to do? And they were like, you just have to wait. And I was like, waiting isn't an option. Like, you know, my husband and my mom would be in, like, helping me move my muscles, so that I knew once it was time to stand, or once it was time to sit up, I could do it.
Oh, wow. It's like you're always training.
Oh, right.
Anyways, that's your picture in the background. So that's the baby Morgan, right?
So
it's Morgan.
Morgan. Yes. So this is Ella and Corbin, and obviously my husband Denny, Morgan, Callum, and Samson.
And how did you get to Morgan? How did you pick Morgan?
So this is actually...
This is a better picture. I like this one, because it looks like they're all just goofing around.
This is a normal picture of us trying to hold on to a kid and keep them in the frame. So we got the name Morgan. I was actually in the hospital for an appointment, just for a checkup, and they were paging a Dr. Danielle Morgan. And I said, it's like they're calling Danielle. Listen to this name. Because we kept arguing over what we were going to call her, and because we couldn't find something that we both loved. So I said, what about Morgan? And it was just like, yeah. Morgan. And I mean, she suits her name.
Now, did you know you were having a girl? Because you said you wanted a girl, but...
we had this is probably one of those moments too where everyone says to you, right, you want a healthy pregnancy. And I was like, obviously I want a healthy pregnancy, but I also want a girl. I don't know if that's asking too much, but I definitely also want a girl. So yeah, we did a gender reveal and found out she was a girl, and it was so exciting. Never did we imagine that this would be the story of her coming.
Now, how is your health now? Now, like, are you still, you know, battling, or is it getting better, or every day's better?
Yeah, it's definitely a battle. I describe it as waking up to my worst nightmare of muscles not working, and, you know, having to be patient and wait for this. You know, I'm doing the work every day. I'm doing the best that I can. I have, as you can see, a very busy family, and to kind of be the one that has to step back and let others, I'm getting really good at, you know, letting other people help. Because I need to. But it's the support from the community is 100% what keeps pushing us forward. I mean, even my husband will just go to the store and someone will say, you know, you guys have done amazing, or we're here for you, and we never feel alone. So knowing that support is there and that we can connect. And I mean, I have two amazing brothers that are always there supporting us, and a huge family with my sister-in-laws, and everybody stepped up and kind of made our new team, right? It's It's our team that's kind of like the gold medal world record is.
Now you're a gold medal family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, and that's cool though, because now I'm sure you're a lot tighter, and everybody in your families, like everybody's there for you now. Well, not for you, but for family.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool last week at a doctor's appointment to hear that the reason that I'm here is because I have an athlete's heart. And so it was like, it made it those gold medals and those world records and all that training. So it's hard when you say, like, what motivated you to get up at 4:30 in the morning? Now I'm like, I had no idea, Greg, that it would be what saved my life. But yeah.
There you go. Okay, and so my good friends at Salute Cafe and Bar, they're out in LaSalle. Anyways, they've given your husband and you a complimentary dinner.
Oh, wow.
To any time you want to go out there, you just call ahead and talk to my good friend Anthony Moscadelli, and he'll take care of your family in that.
Wonderful.
Or sorry, it's just for you two, not the family.
Yeah, that's okay. We don't bring that crew to restaurants very often.
If you guys go to restaurants, isn't it like 18% gratuity right off the bat?
Yeah, exactly. We're at the party limit right off.
But I really appreciate you coming in today. Honest to God, you're a fantastic person. I got to talk to you a little bit before, so you're a very lovely woman. So I'm glad you came on. Just once again, if you could like the show, comment, and we'll enter in to win 2 Spitfire tickets for Wednesday night, actually. So make sure you like and comment, and I'll enter you in to win. We'll pick a winner tomorrow. So thanks for joining us. Thank you very much for coming in, Danielle. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week on Athlete in 519.